eclipse 2017 is a God sign that completely links to the worst hurricanes, floods, fires, and earthquake in U.S. history, and the world's worst solar storm. The total eclipse was followed by a dark shadow path, and at the time, the dark shadow run government was working in full force behind the scenes. Now, what you see on the message board may be additional information than what you hear with your ears. As I go along, it just depends on what I think might be needed that was not included in my text. Well, the title that is called Title X is more than what meets the eye. Oh, you're going to see the understanding of that title. It's like the twists and turns and ironies of the God signs. Now, the sign of the X that you see here, well, that relates to the life code that becomes new life in the womb when conception takes place. It is the symbol of the female chromosome, and the Y, the male code, is shown as one foundation. And guess what? When the X and Y chromosome meet at conception, they become the foundation of new life. So exactly what we see as a sign of the life code is true to form as the blueprint for male or female. And it's written in one letter. Oh, it goes deeper than what meets the eye here in this one encrypted translation. But for now, we can see the significance of interpreting the sign of the X as it relates to the beginning of life in the womb. But this X, gotta connect our dots, is perceived from outer space by science-based NASA. Well, that's revealing. Well, one leg represents partial, that's partial viewing, and the other leg had the beginning at Madras, Oregon, where the sign of God drawing a line down through the face of his son at sunrise. Well, that may be telling us, wake up, America. This is Madras, Oregon right here. The eye of the total eclipse was followed by a dark shadow path all the way across the map. Here it is, coastline to coastline. And now we know the X is actually the sign of new life in the womb. And the eye, well, that's the transforming image when the X and Y become one foundation. And see, this was an eye that was traveling all the way across from coastline to coastline. But it was followed by a dark shadow path. Pro-life Lila Rose versus the liberal, they're discussing the bill passed in Oregon that supports abortion across the board, including partial birth up to delivery. And it's covered for everyone by the taxpayer dollars. And this includes illegal immigrants. Here's Lila Rose here in the middle. Well, the dark shadow run government supports partial birth abortion, and $500 million a year of our tax dollars goes toward taking the life of 1 million babies a year in the womb. That is 2,740 babies a day. Later, we will show you how this number is revealed when new life is beginning at the moment of conception in the womb. It is a God sign, people, and it is revealed by a science research-based university. So we have science-based NASA revealing the sign of life in the womb, followed by darkness. And now we have a science-based university that shows the time frame of conception as it relates to the beginning of life in the womb. The beginning of the journey in the Northwest was reinforced by Northwestern University. To me, this is just, it's confirmation. Listen to the repeat that we have here. And when you have repeated signs that you can hear with your ears, you can see by your eyes, well, that's God showing us confirmation. They are God signs. Our link is getting tighter. The sign of Madras, Oregon at sunrise, well, that's a new day. Or we could say it was the beginning path in the northwest, followed by darkness, and it was confirmed by Northwestern University that is showing the foundation of light, the beginning of new life in the womb. Now here's another way to look at this. The beginning of the dark shadow path in the northwest as it relates to life in the womb, that is the sign of the X, that transforms into the I at conception. Well, it was reinforced by contrasting Northwestern University revealing how life begins in the womb by the foundation of the light transmitting eye. Wow. All of the above are God signs. So we have a whistleblower here. Her name is Abby. And we have a couple of videos about the movie that was produced when she shared the truth about working in the abortion clinics and being a manager. Oh my goodness, it is so revealing. The God signs just pour out without any shadow of doubt. But Abby here, she said that Houston is the largest abortion clinic and underground network in the Western Hemisphere. So now we have Northwest, the beginning of the total eclipse, followed by darkness. Northwestern University, revealing the beginning of life in the womb, anchored by light. And now the largest abortion clinic in the Western Hemisphere that indicates half of the world is now relative to a dark underground network and the end of life in the womb. And all three are linked to the same sign of the X, the life code. Hope you're sitting down on this one. Planned Parenthood, well, they get their money through Title X. Like I said, you couldn't make this up. This is a blatant sign of what God is delivering to us. Well, Abby said that the abortion clinics have their monthly quota that has to be met. And Tucker said, well, what about all the good they do, like mammograms? And she said, there's not one clinic under Planned Parenthood that does mammograms or prenatal care. In this one clinic, I guess where she worked, she said they did 75 abortions a day, 6 days a week. Out of that number, half that are good fetuses are sold through the world-bound market, and they receive $200 per body. This one clinic made $2 million a year. Abby, who had worked for this clinic for 8 years, said, you become very dark and you begin to not see the heinous acts, and it becomes a joke. Now, she was a manager of the clinic, I think, for 8 years. But she said the freezer is called the nursery. Now, we need to think about this. The eye of the total eclipse closed and brought prevailing darkness for 2 minutes and 44 seconds. At the time of the crossing of the total eclipse, Planned Parenthood had been in business for 44 years. You think that might be a repeat? Darkness is being revealed, people. Well, shortly after the total eclipse, the world's worst solar storm occurred. And the sign you do not want to miss, but NASA interpreted from this sign that the world was going into a cold, dark age. And the left is worried about global warming. And then it was changed to climate change. When darkness prevailed over the Lone Mountain for 2 minutes and 44 seconds in mid-America, the rim of the sun was 1 million degrees hot, and there are 1 million babies killed in the womb in 1 year for the last 44 years. Actually, the number is higher, and we can show the truth by our God sign. Now, the path of the total eclipse and its X that began on the northwest coastline, Madras, Oregon, was confirmed by the sign that relates to the beginning of new life in the womb. See, we had beginning there mentioned twice. Well, the second confirmation followed when the TV debate, there it is, by pro-life Lila Rose against one on the left, was discussing the Oregon bill and how the taxpayer dollars covered all the abortions up to the time of delivery. And then, here's another confirmation. We're going to be using that word a lot because one just follows the other. The Title X shows up on Fox News as Planned Parenthood's tax dollars given by the feds had been cut to the point, evidently, it hurt their cash cow. And then God draws a line through the face of his son at the coastline of Madras, Oregon. See, line is repeated twice there. These are God signs, just one confirming all the rest. And we have the X followed by a dark shadow path all the way across the U.S. map. And here is the X that stands for new life in the womb, and the foundation of light was confirmed by Northwestern University. These are the signs you can hear with your ears. And here is the sign of how life begins in the womb. Now, you're going to see a duplicate of this image. When the eye closed, and for 2 minutes and 44 seconds, darkness loomed over the Lone Mountain. Let's go back and look. Do you think this might have been a God-sent message, people? Wow. I think so. Well, the 2 minutes and 44 seconds of darkness was over the life code that is etched in stone. The X right here, etched in solid stone, and here is a broken Y. And if you doubt this sign, well, it's been confirmed in the same picture back here in the shadows. Here's the X, and here's the Y, and it's upside down. So it's upside down here, and it's broken here in the stone. Well, the Y stands for the name of Jesus. It was his Aramaic name, Yahweh. And here it is, etched in stone, and the shadows where darkness loomed for 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Well, Planned Parenthood had been in the business for 44 years when the total eclipse crossed over the U.S. map. And their Title X became our Title X, more than what meets the eye. You see, at the lightning bolt moment of conception, the pulse and breath of new life, the production of the original seed, that's the eye, what takes place by the foundation of light. The very first stage of new life reveals the eye and the signature of Jesus when he spoke, "As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." Planned Parenthood had reaches around the world. At any stage when life is taken in the womb, the lights are turned off and darkness prevails in the womb. The signature of Jesus is etched into the life code. The built-in Y is the sign or signature you can see with your eyes, and the foundation of new life in the womb carries his signature you can hear with your ears. The many I ams. Isaiah 43:7, everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Luke 11:34, the light of the body is the eye. I am the way, truth, and life. I, even I, am the Lord, and beside me there is no Savior. Jesus told the masses who he was when he spoke. The many I ams. Glenn Beck mentioned he wanted to see something great in the total eclipse, but it was not there. I wanted to shout over the airwaves, "Oh, Beck, if you only knew it was loaded with God's signs, including his signature of his Son. The forewarnings of our worst floods and fires and so much more were written into the timeline of darkness and the script of the life code. The sign of the beginning of new life in the womb was revealed by the new moon and the beginning of a new day in Madras, Oregon. I must reach back now. Better yet, anyone out there in YouTube world, send him this link. His eyes will be open to the many God signs that are still coming in 2019, like a floodgate that just opened, according to the forewarnings written into the script 2 years previously in 2017. Now we will do a quick run on the sign of the X's. Oh my goodness, that sounds like the word Texas. X's, Texas? Yep, that's a God sign in itself. And if we played the left's word game and make Title X an acronym, TX, or the abbreviation for Texas, comes to the forefront, and this was the home state of Planned Parenthood's largest abortion network in the Western Hemisphere. We might say the X's intertwine, so us of the U.S., U.S. and the world cannot dismiss the God-sent signs and messages. Now, our wrap-up. The repeat of the signs is not redundancy. Instead, it is driving our point home by one confirmation after another. Jesus told his 11 disciples, after rising from the grave, that the word would be confirmed by the signs following. So when the sign of the X has been confirmed, and the sharing has been about the life code that carries the signature of Jesus in dual measure, that's his signature, which is signs we can see and hear by our eyes and ears respectively, we are following that foundation and teaching principle. So let's look at our sign of the X. Well, it's etched in stone and the shadows. You can't get any more confirmation than etched in stone. Jesus was known as the stone, and it's confirmed by his name, Yahweh. Then the X is etched in the atmosphere. Well, that's a heavenly body, and it's confirmed by science. Isn't that interesting? And here is another X confirmed by science, and this is the life code, and the Y is built into the X, and this is etched in the womb. And then we have Title X, the cash cow, and a woman's rights, confirmed by the government. Let's go back and just take a quick review here. Wow. Our next video is science-based, and the signs of the reflective waters are eye-opening. By the way, it takes us to the womb and around the world. And once again, to the signature of Jesus. This revealing sign is shown as the anchor of life. Somewhere down the road, we travel to the eye of the earth. You don't want to miss those travels. Click on the link in the explanation to see more of this continuing story and the scientific facts. See you there.